Hello Stellar Guitarists, it's Amber here, teaching you how to play Last Kiss by Pearl Jam, originally written by Wayne Cochran. So make sure that your guitar is in standard tuning. We're not going to need a capper for this lesson, so grab your guitar and let's begin. Now this is such a great song for those beginners out there because we have a simple chord progression and one strumming pattern that we use for the entire song. So let's go ahead and jump into looking at the chords we need in the song. We only need 4 chords, and the first chord we need is a G major chord. Now for this specific song I'm going to be using the 4-fingered G, so that just means we're going to take our ring finger up to the B string and we're going to tuck our pinky in underneath on the high E string in the 3rd fret. And you're going to see why I'm doing this in a minute. So we're going to go from a G chord, we then have an E minor chord. Our next chord shape we need is a C major, and then we need a D major chord. So the order that we've just learned those chords is the actual chord sequence of the song. So let's take a closer look at how these chords can be connected and make it much easier for you to transition between them. So we're starting on that G major chord, remember using a 4-fingered G here. From the G major chord we're going to the E minor chord. Now I like to play my E minor using fingers 1 and 2 because we have our first finger acting as a pivot finger to get to that E minor chord. So going from the G major, keeping our first finger down on that A string, we can pivot into the E minor chord. And from the E minor chord, we can then also pivot into the C major chord with our middle finger staying put and transitioning to the C major. So again from the G, we then pivot with our first finger to E minor. We're then going to pivot with our second finger to C major. So those 3 chords are all connected with one finger. Now when we change from the C to the D major, we don't have any pivot fingers here, so we're just going to go to a normal D major chord. And then when we loop back to the G major, this is why we are going to be using the 4-fingered G, because our ring finger is going to be the pivot finger from the D major to the G major chord. So all we're going to be doing is keeping our ring finger in place, adding our pinky and our first and second fingers to create the G major chord. And there we have some awesome pivot fingers connecting the chords in the song. So let's play through those chords with one down strum, and we're going to count up to 4 on each chord. Starting on the G, here we go. A 1, 2, 3, 4 E minor, 2, 3, 4 to the C, 2, 3, 4 and to D. One more time, back to G, and 1, 2, 3, 4 E minor, 2, 3, 4 and to C, and to the D. So as I've mentioned, that is the chord sequence that we're going to be using for most of the song. Now something to just take note of, and this will be indicated in the play along at the end of the lesson, at the end of every section of the song, so the end of the verses and at the end of all of the choruses, we are going to be playing 2 rounds of the G major chord. Now we'll get into that in a little bit and I'll show you how that's going to be working, but that's just something I want you to take note of. So the chord sequence is exactly the same all the way through each of the verses and the choruses with a double G at the end. If you are enjoying yourself with me here today, please could I ask you to hit that like button and to subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out and it allows me to continue making lessons just like this for you every single week. So thank you so much for the support. So now that you have the chords under your belt, let's have a little look at the strumming pattern that we're going to be using in the song. And the strumming pattern that goes perfectly in the song is our favorite strumming pattern, down, down, up, up, down, up. And we can play that once on each chord. So if we play it from the G major chord, it will sound like this. Down, down, up, down, up, switch to E minor. We then change the C major, and then we change the D major. And if we try that again without having any pauses between the chord changes, it's going to sound like this. G, E minor, to the C chord, and to the D chord, back to G, and then E minor, and to C, and to D. So if you are new to playing the guitar, really take some time now to practice. First of all, changing between those chords with one down strum. And then once you can do that, then try to add in that strumming pattern. Down, down, up, down, up, which we count 1, 2, and 4, and 1, 2, and 4, and. So the first section of the song that we're going to look at today is the chorus. And very unusual, the song actually begins with the chorus. It doesn't happen very often. But here we are, we're going to be starting with the chorus today, and we're going to be doing 2 rounds of that chord sequence. Just remember that we're going to have a double G at the end. And how this is going to work is that the second G that you're going to be playing, there's going to be a little star written next to that G, and that's going to indicate 1 down strum on that specific chord. So let's go through the chorus together, starting on the G major, and it's going to sound something like this. With the strumming pattern, a 1, 2, 3. Oh G, oh, where can E minor be? The C took her the D chord from me. Back to G's gone to heaven, so E minor be good. So C can see my baby when I D chord, and then to the G chord, and 1 strum, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to let that G chord ring out for a total of 4 counts. I have some really exciting news to share with you. The Stellar Academy is growing. I have a beginner guitar program as well as my brand new intermediate guitar course called Let's Level Up. Now both programs are there to help you no matter what your skill level. And if you want to find out more about how you can become part of the Stellar Academy community so that you can start to smash your guitar goals, then go and click the link below this video. I really cannot wait to help you become a stellar guitarist. Right, let's get back into the lesson. So let's move on into learning the verse of the song. And what's going to be happening here is we're going to be playing 4 rounds of that chord sequence before we end with a double G. So let's take a look at the verse. We're going to be starting on the G major chord, and we're going to be using down, down, up, down, up on each of the chords. Starting on the G, a 1, 2, 3. We were out on a date in E minor's car, to the C chord, and then to the D chord, the G chord in the road, E minor ahead, and the C chord was stalled, the D chord, back to G couldn't stop, so E minor, and the C chord, back to the D chord, one more time, the G chord, and then the E minor, the C, and the D chord, and G, 1 strum, G, 2, 3, 4. And then that would lead us right back into the chorus. Now there is one more strumming pattern that I want to share with you today. It's a slightly more intermediate strumming pattern, but it's definitely going to make the song sound a little bit more interesting. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be accenting the first beat with a bass note for each of the chords. So what we're going to be playing is a bass string on beat 1 instead of doing a full down strum on that first beat. So for each chord, let's go through which bass string we're going to be playing when we are playing and accenting that first beat. So for the G major chord, we're going to be playing the low E string. For E minor, it will be the low E string as well. For the C chord, it's going to be the A string. And for the D chord, it will be the D string. So what I mean by this is we're going to be plucking the bass string. So it'll be a bass, down, up, down, up. Before we change to E minor, bass, down, up, down, up. Then C will be the same, but we're on the A string. Bass, down, up, down, up, and then the D string for the D major. E minor, and C chord, and to the D chord. One more time. And another little nuance that we can add is on that first strum, after we've plucked that bass string, you can really rake your pick through the strings. So listen to the difference when I rake the strings. I'm really digging into each string and kind of bringing out each of the strings individually instead of just strumming down on them all sort of at the same time. So those are the two main sections of the song. We have the verse and the chorus. All that's left to do now is a play along, which will be coming up next of the entire song. Let's take it from the top. A 1, 2, 3. Oh, where can my baby be? The Lord took her away from me. She's gone to heaven, so I got to be good, so I can see my baby when I leave this world. We were out on a date in my daddy's car. We hadn't driven very far. There in the road, straight ahead, the car was stalled. The engine was dead. I couldn't stop, so I swerved to the right. I'll never forget the sound that night. The screaming tires, the busting gas, the painful scream that I heard last. Oh, where can my baby be? The Lord took her away from me. She's gone to heaven, so I got to be good, so I can see my baby when I leave this world. When I woke up, the rain was pouring down. There were people standing all around. Something warm flowing through my eyes, but somehow I found my baby that night. I lifted her head, she looked at me and said, "Hold me, darling, just a little while." I held her close, I kissed her our last kiss. I found the love that I knew I had missed. Well, now she's gone, and even though I hold her tight, I lost my love, my life that night. Oh, where can my baby be? The Lord took her away from me. She's gone to heaven, so I got to be good, so I can see my baby when I leave this world. I really hope that you enjoyed jamming along with me today. If you did, please could I ask you to like this video and to subscribe to my channel. Come and join the Stellar Guitarist community. And if you enjoyed this lesson, then I'm sure you're going to really love the song that is being suggested to you right now on the screen. Until next Sunday, I'll see you in the next lesson. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.